Mr. Speaker, let me first thank the gentleman from Virginia, the Commonwealth, the birthplace of my mother, Dinwiddie County, Virginia. My grandfather was a small-time tobacco farmer, and I learned to cut tobacco at 8 years old. I'm from Newark, New Jersey, the Garden State. We didn't raise much tobacco there in the Garden State, but my friends used to think I was going on vacation when I would leave. I said I wasn't going to vacation, I was going to work. And that's what we did for the summer. But it was a great experience, and always have great memories of the Commonwealth. Mr. Speaker, last month, as part of a partnership with the National Newspapers Publishers Association, I wrote an op-ed on environmental justice issues. I'll repeat what I wrote then, which is that the environmental justice should be a national priority, not a problem confined to minority communities. African American communities are disproportionately burdened with pollutants. Across the nation, communities of color suffer from higher rates of exposure to air pollution, higher rates of lead poisoning, and higher rates of water pollution. Every single day, children in my home city of Newark, New Jersey, are exposed to harmful levels of pollution from the port and other sources that rob them of their health just because of where they live. 1 in 4 Newark children has asthma. The hospitalization rate for Newark children is 30 times the rate of the national average. Asthma is the leading cause of absenteeism in school-aged children in the city of Newark, New Jersey. Yet too often, environmental justice is an afterthought, or often it's missing entirely in the discussion of the challenges facing African Americans. The Trump administration threatens to make the problem even worse. President Trump has prioritized rolling back environmental regulations from emissions rules for power plants to the mandate that federal decision-making must be taken into consideration on climate change impacts. President Trump proposed slashing the EPA's budget by 31%, cutting enforcement of the agency's clean air laws by $129 million. With threats of excessive cuts to the EPA, air quality across the nation may even be worse than expected. In the American Lung Association's State of Air report, my district and many other metropolitan areas ranked as having the most polluted air in the country. However, only 1/3 of counties have ozone or particulate pollution air monitors. We must fight to ensure that funding for air monitors are for all our communities. So what can we do to protect our communities from environmental degradation? The Newark City Council has been a leader in that area and has passed a first-in-the-nation ordinance requiring developers to request environmental permits to inform the city of any environmental impacts. As a result, decision makers and the public will be able to make informed decisions about sustainable development. Other municipalities would be smart to follow Newark's lead. Last November, I joined Amy Goldsmith and Kim Gaddy of the Clean Water Action and Coalition for Healthy Ports for an environmental justice tour of the port of New York and New Jersey. We were also joined by Congressman Frank Pallone from New Jersey. Organizations like theirs are doing excellent work in the fight against health-threatening pollution. Expanding partnerships on environmental justice initiatives must be a central part of our strategy to secure environmental protections. To those listening at home, I encourage you to make it clear to your elected officials that you will hold them accountable for any efforts to dismantle environmental protections and any failures to fight environmental justice. And to my colleague from Virginia, it is really noteworthy that you have taken the lead on this issue. As I stated in my presentation, Newark, New Jersey, 30 times greater propensity for asthma in children than the national average. I mean, that's almost criminal. And we as a home, myself, not just have heard about it, but have lived it. My middle son, I'm the father of triplets. My middle son, who is grown up with asthma, the days we had to keep him inside, he's been fortunate to have not, knock on wood, have many instances throughout his childhood of asthma attacks. But the one that I did see really brought me to tears, and to know that there are numbers and numbers of children throughout this country who don't have the opportunity to go to the doctor, who rush to the hospital with asthma attacks, and who, God forbid, sometimes don't make it to the doctor, is just to think that that could be my boy, brings tears to my heart. So I'm willing to make this fight, not for just my son, but for the hundreds of thousands of children throughout this country who suffer from this disease, and make sure that the EPA stays intact to fight these dreaded diseases, especially in minority communities, in our young people, and throughout the country. And I'll close with the drinking water issue in Flint. Congressional Black Caucus went out to Flint when the issue first came up. Ms. Pelosi was there as well. And we talked to the people of Flint and heard firsthand their heartbreak and not being able to think they could trust anyone. Their government had let them down, had lied to them, had given them poison to drink and said it's okay. Looked like rusty water, but they told them that it was fine to use it for baths or whatever. So I'm sitting there on that stage listening to all this, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm from Newark, New Jersey, the third oldest city in this country's history. So Flint, Michigan can't be that old because, Lewis and Clark went west. So the third oldest city, what were my pipes like? What was the condition of my water system? And I went back and I saw several mayors from my district, and I said, I suggest you start looking at your water systems. And that was on a Friday. That Tuesday, we got a report from the Newark school system. They found lead in the drinking water in 44 schools in Newark. That not even a week. So we know how important these issues are, and we will continue to fight for what's right in our communities, and I appreciate the opportunity and your leadership on this issue. And I yield back.